They had all the breakout classes.
Yeah.
And they were,
Anybody would like to speak in favor or against? I'm going to invite Jason Simler up from Baker Tilly to explain the whole process. That way we all understand. So Jason, would you like to come up and
Morning.
morning.
Jason Simler, Baker Tilly, serving as financial advisor for the county. Yes, in front of you, I just handed out some schedules, kind of illustrating what is in front of you as far as the bond ordinance. We had been asked to look at looking at financing for the highway garage, and if you turn on page 2. Based upon, I think, some preliminary bids that received for the highway garage, I think also the morgue, and they total about $5,316,000.
it's for the jail.
I'm sorry, the jail. Yeah, the
Okay.
jail. Sorry, jail improvements. So it's about $5,316,000, and then you also see on page 2 we also included some allowance for issuance cost for whoever purchases these bonds. If you decide to go forward with the financing, there'll be some upfront costs that they'll require, and then all your professional fees, we've put an allowance for there as well. So you'd be looking at a total project or total financing of about $5,550,000. And we're looking at paying this back from the special income tax that the county has in place. And then we're also recommending that we put a property tax backup behind this. That's what we've done for all the other bonds that you've had outstanding, that you've issued and that you still have outstanding now from payable from the special income tax. That property tax backup is really just gives the bond purchasers extra security that if for some reason that the income tax is not sufficient, that you already have the authority to levy a property tax to pay any shortfall that there might be. And we're going to show here in a minute that we don't anticipate that there will be a shortfall. It just gives us, will give us a better bond rating for the bonds that we'll request. And it'll give the bond purchasers more security that these bonds will get paid and allow us to get the lowest interest rate possible. So it's really just to make the bonds more marketable and make it as efficient as possible for the county. And like I said, we've done that for all the other bonds. There was a time where we did have a combination of local income tax and property taxes that went to pay off a couple of the bonds, but the income tax has grown to the point where we don't need the property tax and haven't for years. So page 3 looks at how we're anticipating that $5.5 million to be paid back. We're looking at a 20-year bond issue. You can see that we're not really anticipating any principal being paid until 2035. So it's just interest only for about the next 10 years. And I'll show that why we're doing that here shortly. And then after that, we start paying principal after that 10 years. I know one of the questions was asked, could these bonds be paid off early? Typically, we structure these bonds that we can pay them off either completely or we can refinance them after 10 years. We could do that earlier than 10 years, but typically, whoever's buying these bonds, these interest rates that I'm showing here, they kind of want to know they're going to get that interest over a certain period of time. They would allow us to potentially refinance them or pay them off before 10 years, but we're probably going to see a tick in the interest rate that we're going to have to pay because they're going to charge you for that flexibility. So typically 10 years is pretty much the norm in the industry. So that's what we're recommending here for the county. Unless you decide, hey, we really think we're going to pay these off sooner than 10 years, then we can structure that. But the rates would probably be a little bit higher than what we're showing here. So then page 4 looks at the special purpose lit revenue. So in 2026, we're estimating that you'll bring in about $1.5 million in revenue. As you know, you have 2 bonds that are currently outstanding payable from this revenue stream, the 2019 bonds and the 2020 bonds. So you see those payments there. And then the illustrative 2025 bonds, the payment that I just showed you is the 4th column there. So you're looking at your total annual payment if you go forward with this is about $1 million. So it shows that you have about $490,000 left over, even after the payment of these bonds. So about 100, almost 150% coverage. So one, we structured, I mentioned on the previous schedule, we're not paying any principal for the first 10 years. And you may think, well, that's not very efficient. Do we have some room? Why can't we pay more principal sooner? One, we have to show that we have 125% coverage on all three bonds, which we do. But also, talking to Minks, there might be a desire to issue bonds next year for some road improvements or for some other projects payable from this source. So by not paying any principal, this gives us flexibility to do another bond issue, another project next year if the county desires.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. Is anybody else?
I thought we were told we can't do a road with a bond.
Oh, yeah, you can.
With income taxes, not property taxes,
Okay.
maybe than what you were told.
But we do have the wind and solar monies that we should be using for.
Right, let's see. Can I come up here?
Yeah, come on up.
Because I've got to answer Scott's question too.
I asked that question about bonding.
Yeah, because
Our
of emergency
future road
services,
projects.
the lit is for emergency services. Oh, yeah. Gary Frink, County Commissioner. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, now,
I'd asked the question earlier about the possibility of using that particular funding source for covering a bond, but you can't do the road is what I found out because that's not in the allowable uses of that particular funding source. It's for emergency service style projects. So that's why Scott asked that question. And one thing I'd like to ask Jason while we're going to is what kind of property tax rate would go, on that?
If we actually had to levy a property tax?
Yeah.
I have not done that just
Okay.
because I knew that we weren't intending to, so I didn't calculate that, but I can.
I was just curious.
If we did have to do that, wouldn't it still be subject to the caps?
It would be.
So it probably wouldn't have any effect on the overall rate anyway.
It would have, depending on where you live. It's like those taxpayers that lived in the city of Winchester, it wouldn't increase their property taxes, or Union City, because they're already at the cap. But those who live out in the county, in the townships, it probably would increase their property taxes. Yeah, so it all depends on where you live.
And to answer your secondary question, Dave, to my knowledge, there's no other bond being considered at this
Okay.
particular time. I think what we're talking about here is we don't want to remove the possibility of the necessity of having to do it. But right now, there is no other bond in discussion.
okay.
I'll just wait here in case.
Okay, any questions for Jason on what he said? So it looks like we're gonna have an excess of 467,000 for 2026 plus whatever we have in the account right now.
Correct.
Because why I asked that, I'm gonna bring up later, we've got some other projects we're gonna need to be doing,
Mhm.
and we'll need to figure out where we can take them from. If we can use the special lit, I'm gonna advise using special lit. But I'll have to know if they do qualify. Now, that would qualify for special lit, is that correct?
The morgue would, yes.
Okay, but the bonds are for the morgue and the jail.
Yes, because the bond limit that's out is 6 million. The jail bids and quotes have went up about 10% because we started this 8, 9 months ago.
So
So,
what
yeah.
happens if we don't use the lit? I'm sorry, the bond for the morgue? What if we use it from the lit?
We just borrow less money, right?
And that's, and I knew that answer.
Oh,
I wanted to make
okay.
sure everybody here knew that. Because we do have an excess right now in special lit that I would rather, for the taxpayer's sake, to bring it out of special lit instead of the bonds.
Well, I agree with you, Dave.
But that's my opinion. We'll talk about that here later.
And I agree with that opinion, and we brought it into the bond just to save cash in the uncertain times.
Yeah.
And so it's like the airport, the possibility of a new terminal out there can come out of special lit too.
Right.
So, and we could either We could probably afford to pay that outright too, if we stay under $1 million to do it.
And that's what I'm,
The board conversion's in the 430,000, I don't have exactly in my mind, we're getting ready to sign the contract for that.
Is it always capital projects for lit, the special lit?
No, you can actually fund payroll out of special lit if it's for a use that's in that category.
and it's, I think you had it in your draft, didn't you?
I think so. And you've amended it over the years on what it could be used for.
I don't know what page it was, but I did read it last night where we can.
Just known in your report that you delivered last month, that it showed, pretty big shortfall in 27 and beyond in those areas. Does that make sense to, in that excess of $400 and some thousand, then at that point could be used for some of that. So we do want to keep a healthy overage there, right, in case we need it for non-capital project expenses.
And special ed, I mean.
Mm-hmm. As a source.
One thing I question, that special ed is continuing to grow. And we really need to dedicate some of those monies because one of these days,
They're gonna come down because we got too much there.
Yeah.
we're going to be very, very careful. Plus, we have the revenue streams from wind and solar, and we also have the edit funds
Right.
that we know as of today, which will change in 2028. So I think the balance is there, but we need to show commitments of projects going forward. Because one of these days, according to the draft that Jason Baker Tilly put together, our revenue is definitely going to change.
Right.
So we need to get these projects done today, or at least on the table, so we can, they'll be cheaper, number one, today than they will 4 years from now. And we may not have the revenue stream then. So. Any other questions for Jason or Gary while they're up here?
Do you know when it will be decided if you do want to use some cash on hand towards the project to reduce the bond size? Do you know when that might be decided?
I think the council could probably decide today.
I would like to decide today, so
Yeah.
I would like to do it. I'm going to bring it up in our regular meeting.
Yeah. I don't, the commissioner wouldn't even have, I don't think, the right to object to how it's funded, but I don't think we would. Yeah.
And going back to the process, this is kind of the first process, but we are planning on, we're working on the official statement, so that's the marketing document that will go out and sell the bonds. So we're working on that now, going to send that to Standard & Poor's, which is the rating agency. Some of you may be involved in the rating calls that we've had in the past. Does the bonds rated, the county rated, to help market the bonds. So we'll kind of get into the bond size, but our goal is to sell probably the first week in December, toward the end of November, first week in December, and close on the bonds, so you'll have the money in the middle of December.
Okay.
Do you want to try to get these, the bond market is already picking up because rates are still low. They're creeping up, but they're still very low. So we want to try to get you guys in the process of selling as quickly as possible before we get closer to Christmas and it gets really hectic. So.
Okay.
I think we might want to consider leaving a little bit of room in the bond for the rate, or what it's going to cost us continuing to increase until we get it under contract. I would hope it wouldn't be much, but we don't know. So if we do stay like at 5.5 million and we don't need it all, we don't have to borrow it all, right?
Yeah, we only really want to borrow what we think we're going to spend.
Okay.
So I wouldn't, if we don't think we're going to need the $400,000 or the more, then I would reduce the bond size by $400,000 because we don't want to borrow more than what we need.
Okay.
And I read, Jason, but I'm new, is it the maximum interest payable 7%? Is that
Correct.
what that meant?
Yeah. And again, as you see on page 3, we expect the interest rates to be much less than that. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see rates higher than what I'm showing here. And that's because sometimes you'll see premium interest rates, because even though rates are, 3 to 4% right now, purchasers might want to see a 5%.
Right.
But they'll pay the county money up front to have that higher interest rate. We call that a premium. So sometimes, we can get hundreds of thousands or $1 million worth of cash up front, and we just take that cash up front and reduce the bond by $1 million. So it's a wash to you.
Right.
And that's kind of one reason why we had the interest rates so high, is it gives us that flexibility to not narrow our focus on certain purchasers.
And is it true, would our bond rating be in a AAA type?
It won't be triple A, but it'll be definitely the A AA range.
Okay.
And I think, all the decisions, looking at the comprehensive, you still have very healthy balances. You guys have done very well. Just responsible with your cash on hand, building up your reserves, and being proactive, with the annual report and making those decisions. So all that should go well to continue your strong rating. Which is, I'm recommending that we do that, because you guys do have a good rating. Will go out well in the market.
Should sell pretty quick. Okay, any other questions? Anybody?
I guess I do have one other question, knowing that, kind of looking back again on page 4, I guess. I am only showing, the first 10 years, no principal. We can now, we don't think we're going to be doing another bond. I can start paying principal sooner. But again, that reduces our flexibility, that if we ever do want to do a bond in the next 10 years, we kind of reduce that 400,000 to something less. So it means if we do another bond, we'd be required to pay less principal in the future. So if you still like that flexibility, I can keep the structure like it is, not paying principal. That way, if 2027, 2028, we find out we need to do another bond because of whatever the situation is, this gives us the most flexibility.
Because of the cash reserve?
With the cash reserve and the amount extra each year,
Yeah.
gives us the flexibility to do another bond payable from this revenue stream.
I can't see of anything major coming at us, because we're sort of cleaning up with the jail renovation, hopefully the airport terminal. That should be our last major projects, I would think, for a while.
Yeah, I agree, of what we know. I mean,
Yeah. And that's why I've been concerned with rainy day going forward. That's why we keep putting money
Yeah.
aside.
one thing I would add, whether the council would choose to set the bond, if you want to get real conservative with it, we do have cash on hand to cover $100,000 in difference, to spend the entire bond out, like Jason was saying, to borrow what we use. So if there was an overage coming from the jail that was over the 5 whatever the council chooses, we're not going to be strapped. We have an ability to take care of it. It'd be good to try and land that bond right on the exact number. But.
And we do have other, revenue streams.
Yeah, let me know how much cash on hand you want to contribute, and we can adjust these accordingly. And in the bond ordinance that you have in front of you, you see that it has a maximum bond issue of $6 million. Again, that was just to allow for some flexibility, so we can always go less than that, we just can't go more than that. So if we apply the cash on hand, we can just show less than what we're showing now.
Well, I think the goal would be not to do any cash on hand other than the morgue, to pay out of a different source.
That's the only one I'm leaning
Yeah,
for.
just land this bond as close to accuracy as possible for the jail.
That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because it looks like one bond comes off in 2034, which is, 8 years away, basically. The cycles, we're doing the cycle pretty good, and another bond's off in 2037. So, I just don't see anything major coming at us.
Right now, the commissioners haven't discussed anything that we know of that's major coming out. I think we've done well keeping up with what we need.
And as you said, Gary, you don't think commissioners have any problem with taking the morgue out of the special lit fund?
No, so as a matter of fact, in the beginning,
That's where it was.
that's what started. We just want to say, well, let's look at bonding it too, to keep all the cash that we can. So I don't think there's any issue at all for commissioners. And it's ultimately the call of the council.
Yeah, sure. And I'll let you know today, Jason, what the council decides, because I don't want to hold you up here until we decide.
And as far as the report, once you have your 2026 budget finalized, you can let us know there, have Laura reach out to me, and we'll update that report with the 2026 actual budget you approved, just to resend that to you.
Okay,
Do you have the most accurate report?
most up to date. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? All right, thanks, Gary. Thank you for coming
Thank you.
in, Jason. Very informative. Okay, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved, second, we close the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now we'll go into the regular meeting. And our first line item is pass the ordinance 2025-13, authorizing the issue of the bonds. Yeah, we can do that. We'll start with pledge of allegiance, followed by prayer.
Yeah.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bow our heads, please. Thank you, dear Lord. We give you all the praise and glory. Thank you for letting us meet in a public setting like this to try to do our best, and we know it'll be with your guidance. We'll try to make the best decisions and care for the citizens of Randolph County and the surrounding areas, and we know that you are the light in the darkness of any situation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay. Now we'll get started with the passage of ordinance number 2025-13, issuance of bonds. I guess, let's get it on the table, then we'll have it for discussion. I need a motion and a second to get it on the table.
So moved.
Second.
Do I need to do this for this particular? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I move that council pass ordinance number 2025-13 after the first reading.
Second. It's been moved and second, we pass ordinance 2025-13 after the first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Now let's have a little discussion. We talked about not including the moored funds in this. We'll have to have that on public record to show that.
Where is the estimate for the morgue project? Do you know? I mean, roughly how much money we're talking?
It's between 450 and 475 in it, Gary, with, it's what I've been told.
I've heard a lot of numbers thrown around on that, so I was trying to get it nailed down a little closer.
Gary Friend, County Commissioner, because it's a different meeting. Right. I can look it up and get that to you. I think it's in the 430 range right now.
Okay.
That's where I think it's at. I'll look and see.
Even with 10%, that would put you at 500,000.
Yeah, this one here's pretty secure on the numbers.
Good.
We're ready to sign the contract as soon as he gets it into the courthouse to go forward. So, yeah. This is a little bit different than the complexity of the jail's HVAC system and the stainless steel products. So.
And I think that would be another reason to go ahead and pay for it separately instead of tie it.
Yeah, as long as today, hopefully, when the council's done, they do make the commitment to pay for it in a certain fund, so we're not hung up on waiting for that commitment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, the number's not so, it is important, but right now we're just trying to not include it as part of the bond.
Right.
Right. Are you thinking special ed to pay for that? One of
The
the
special lit. Yeah.
special ed, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna recommend.
Okay.
We'll make that decision here right after before we get to other business. Okay.
I move that the rules be suspended and have the second and third reading by title only and adopted the same day.
Second.
It's been, motion has been made to have the rules suspended and have second and third reading by title only and adopted the same day. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I move that council adopt ordinance 2025-13.
Second.
It's been moved second, council approve ordinance 2025-13, authorizing the issuance of bonds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see, oh, we're all on the back. That mic works.
Yep. Sorry.
All right, commissioner update, Gary.
I was looking for that contract. I'll find it. Then I'll let you know.
Okay.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So it was good to see quite a few council members yesterday. Most of them, half of them anyway, know this. So George Castor come with a contract for the assessment, which we're accustomed to doing, and we approved it. And then we approved the use of a disaster recovery MOU for when we do have a disaster, if we need outside contractors as fast as we get them. We need a procedure to get them on record of what they're gonna do and how much they're gonna charge us. So that's what that's about. Hopefully we don't ever need to do it, but until we do, you know, if we do, we have something to start with. We had quite a discussion on the highway, the old highway barn, and I would invite the council to weigh in too, if it's not today, you know, through the next month or so. This is an asset of Randolph County, and I mean, it's under the commissioners control what we do, but the council should weigh in on what you would like to see with that building. You know, would you like to see it tore down? If it were you, would you like to see it revamped? Would you like to see it leased out for business? These are all the things that we're looking at and deciding what we should do. I like to keep in mind of where it actually sits and the housing developments going on out there. For everybody's knowledge, it is an ag limited zone right now, so that has to be taken into consideration. But anyway, we're looking at what we should do, and I'm just asking the council to weigh in on their opinions on it. Of course, we talked about the Randolph County Jail increase to our project. Everybody got a copy of that, and I hope it's found a top, but we don't know. We don't know if it's going to continue to increase until we get it under contract. We did sign a blight declaratory resolution to help start tearing houses down in Randolph County. That we take $140,000 of edit funds, and we have approved that in the edit plan to assign to it. No more than $10,000 per house, and it has to be used to take it down. It's not like you can get it down for $8,000 and keep $2,000. It's for that, and that does include the abatements for asbestos. The cities have to own the house to do it, completely own it. So that'll hopefully get people, the cities, to start taking these out of the second tax sale when they come through. I call it the second, but it's when it's, you know, we'll give it to any city and county if the county doesn't want it. We put $10,000 for every community, organized community, and $30,000 for Union City, which is larger. and 40 for Winchester, which is larger. And we will see where it goes. Hopefully it can build itself. We're also probably going to discuss it in solid waste and days on solid waste to see if there's any contribution that can go on there with it. So, one thing too is our EMS director has resigned for personal reasons, and that's effective November the 6th. And that brings me to something I think the council is going to have to consider. Our wages for our director, I believe it's going to be $62,500 next year. I believe is what's in the salary, or it's close to it. A paramedic for Randolph County that works nothing but standard shifts throughout the year makes about a total of $75,000 with the 48-hour weeks that they work and 8 hours overtime that they get per week, or 16 per cycle. I think it's in Randolph County's best interest to be in a position where we can hire a paramedic to be our director. There's no disrespect, and the gentleman that we have was an assistant, so he come right up through it, and our former director, said that he could do it, and he did do it, but for personal reasons, he's going to resign. So I hope the council can look favorably on giving the commissioners the room to offer at least the $75,000 that a paramedic would make, so we don't have, I want a paramedic from here forward, because that's like the higher school person. And it's kind of hard to have a discussion between a director and a paramedic when the director discussing with the paramedic, no matter who they are, isn't as qualified. That makes sense. And that qualification, I use that word only in the skills in the field, not in the skills in the office, because it is more of an administrative position.
Is that an exempt position? It isn't, is it?
We don't have any exempt positions.
Right, only the elected officials.
Yeah, only elected officials.
It can't be an exempt position?
If we were to do it, we couldn't just exclude it personally all by itself. We would have to go through and make every like position exempt. Mm-hmm. And that's something we've discussed.
We've discussed it in the past.
Yeah. It's a little more difficult than in the private side. Here, you have to work the hours to get paid if you're on salary, so to speak. But yeah, it's not, it's not exempt. It's not exempt from overtime.
Okay.
So yeah, any questions for you guys? That's basically, there was quite a bit of housekeeping agenda going on, claims to pay and things of that nature. But that's the bulk of it all.
Okay, let's go back to the county barn real quick.
Yeah.
I shared with you about 5 years ago,
Yeah.
probably ought to be tore down and
That's one of the proposals.
removed. That's my personal opinion, but
What was
do you guys-
Missy suggesting yesterday? It sounded like Missy might have been suggesting a sale of it to someone.
A sale or a lease, from what she was saying, she has plenty of people approaching her about the possible use of it.
Would they tear it down then?
Well,
Or they have the option to?
if we wrote into first of all, you'd have to go to a bid. You just can't pick somebody and give it to. You'd have to put it up because it's public property. But you can put in the curtailments on it, what you expect out of it for it to be bought. One could be tear it down, but then you'd have to rebuild on it. If you rebuild the wrong thing on it, then you got to get it to zoning to see if the zoning is going to go with it. So,
I guess my opinion on that conversation was, if we want to abandon that property, we should do it in the most economical way possible.
mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't want to spend money on destructing something to get it ready for somebody who, let's just let the next party decide what they want to do with the property.
And Jake, our building commissioner, Jake Dunn, he's getting 3 quotes, I believe it's 3 quotes for us. Tear it down, strip some of it off and restore it for future use, and building extra storage space at the current highway facility so nothing has to be stored there anymore. Because we've got more equipment since we built the highway out there. The new one.
you know how I feel about buildings. You either maintain them or you get rid of them. It's just simple as that, because it's too costly to.
I liked Missy's comment yesterday about if the property was sold, the monies from that could be used at the highway garage to build a building to store the extra equipment they have now.
Mm-hmm.
I like that scenario.
The only thing there is you lose control of that area with that, nice housing addition right next to it. So anybody can go in there and buy it and you have no control over how they maintain that building.
Yeah, that's my concern, because houses are currently under construction out there right now.
Yeah.
And the infrastructure is actually on the other side of the road, so if any type of deal was made with that building group to acquire a strip of land on Huntsville on the other side, that's where the water main's at now anyway, they can develop both sides. So what's down there at the end, the gateway to it, in and out, is pretty important to that whole development area. So like you're talking there, Greg, if we were to do something like that, we would have to put specifics of what could and could not be put on that property. But we're getting a lot of people that want to put businesses on that property, and that's something that really needs to be, considered. I think every commissioner's had people contact them about what they would like to do with it.
I think it's kind of tough call because I thought last night, we built the new highway barn because the old was inadequate.
Correct.
So that's a fact. And then, like you said, next year, the other year, there may be another row of houses go down the other side of Huntsville Pike, and I don't think you want that sitting at the end.
There's even been some discussion too, and this is just in candor, let the highway practice on building a roundabout, our highway department.
I don't think you're getting much support back there.
I haven't looked backwards.
Yeah, we don't want any roundabouts.
Well, I mean, we can control it through the zoning side of things, what, we want there, don't want there. I would not want to.
That's a good point.
The private sector from deciding, let the market decide what that should be. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Though if you put it in commercial, that's a whole range of things that could go in there.
Yeah.
I mean, a whole range.
Ag Limited has plenty.
Okay, I think. Any other questions on that or ideas or? Okay.
Not on that particular subject. Back to your money that you passed yesterday for blight.
Yes.
So the commissioners are proposing using county taxpayer money to help clean up blight houses in towns.
Yes. Yep. We are. We actually passed it. We're not proposing. We've actually passed it in the edit plan. It'll go to the edit board next. Yeah. But we often do county. It's not just county taxpayer money too. It's figured out by your weight of your levy. So there's a 1/4% tax comes in. Let's say it's $1.5 million, which we know it is from here. And then your percentage of the county's total levy is how much of that fund you get. So it's all taxpayers pay into it. Then the cities and towns get their share according to their percentage of the total levy coming in. So, yeah, I mean, it helps the county, I believe, Greg, if we have a plan to start getting dilapidated homes down. Instead of losing the total inner cities of our towns and getting out the suburbs, then we have a bigger mess. But you're right, what you said is correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clear.
I understand.
And I think this is just the trial. I mean, this is the first time that we did it. We've tried to do it for a long, long time. It's a trial, and I think there's some avenues for some matching money
No,
out there.
we're also looking at if the property comes down, it does get cleaned up and it's sellable to the neighbors or to a developer, that money goes back into the same fund to go into another one.
Yeah, and we have used edit funds before too in different little smaller towns
We have, yeah. We
to
have.
tear down houses. It's,
Well, and other projects. I mean,
yeah.
in other projects, we've used other funds for that aren't just strictly in the rural part of Randolph County.
Okay. Let's talk, before Gary gets away, the paramedic salary, the executive director. I'm like Gary, we're gonna have to probably bump that up. And I would recommend around 75,000 to get a paramedic executive director out there.
And that's important for us to know today as we
Right.
started our application process yesterday, because November 6th is not far in the world of business. I mean, it's 4 weeks and here we are. And we have a peculiar situation out there, which we may take a look at as commissioners too. We don't have an assistant. Because the plan, and it sounded good, but in retrospect, maybe wasn't the best decision for me, is we have 3 shift supervisors instead of an assistant. Well, and I did have a little concern when I talked about it, but I didn't expect this either. So there's no inline chain of command now. When we lose the director, we have 3 shift supervisors and no one stepping in. And the business of EMS is more than taking care of the people, which is primary. It's primary in the whole county. There's tons of administrative work that goes on in that office to keep yourself certified and licensed to bill Medicare, to get pharmaceuticals, to stay in business, to get your ambulances all certified. There's so much going on in there, and I will speak with the other commissioners when we get in session. Are we structurally right? Is this a lesson in structure and how we should structure, no matter how good something may sound and may work? We left ourselves without a second in command, which worries me some.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting another paramedic for that position, or somebody that's not necessarily a paramedic, just doing the
Well, in my
paperwork and
thinking,
stuff?
which I can't say everything, but in my thinking, I prefer that the next director be a paramedic.
Well, I understand that, but I'm talking about this assistant you're talking about.
Oh, behind?
Yeah.
The paramedic?
Yes.
I do not know yet. I've been thinking on that, Greg. I'm also thinking, we have a situation like, if let's just use the highway department, we have, superintendent of the highway department and assistant, but in the office is an administrative assistant that does all the DOT required paperwork to keep us operating properly and getting our funding. We have an engineer out there now. And I wonder if
That's
Yeah.
kind of along the line of.
if we have the EMS department setting on, we were coming off the heels of 30 years of Diane and Dwayne to the different world now. And if we shouldn't have somebody in there that's administratively keeping all the paperwork in line to be in business in the paramedic world. And keep the county, if we do, we gotta do it right, because we don't want the county exposed to any kind of lawsuits out there either from not being where we need to be. So it's a concern of mine that we get structurally proper out there as fast as we can get, and as diligently. And I don't know if that's just a shift of personnel, if that's an addition to personnel. I don't know yet.
Okay, that's,
That's a fair question. I don't know, but I'm thinking, primaries, we've got to get a director. It's got to be the right one. We can't just,
I agree with the increase, because I consider it a special situation. I mean, all of our employees are important, but like you said, this one's, in a world of their own. And I know Chris has a lot of administrative stuff, and
Brad.
Brad, sorry. So I would be in favor of bumping it to 75, around 75.
where would the funding for this come from? The
Well,
extra?
if I might add, and Dave could easily answer, but don't forget that we already are at 62. So we're only looking at 12.5 and a little bit of perks to match it. So we're 75% already there.
Okay.
In the manufacturing world, that's kind of a common situation where a common worker with his overtime will make more than a leader, but the leader usually has 4 or 6 years of college. But yeah, this is a special case.
Yeah, and this is, and like you're talking about in the factory, that's a lot of voluntary overtime work people do. I'm talking about what's a standard shift, which brings 16 hours every pay period. That's a standard shift.
So I have just a question. So the way this is organized now, and there was an assistant director not too long ago, right? Because I believe.
Brad was the assistant to Dwayne.
Yeah. So if you're saying there's a lot of administrative work and we're going to have a paramedic fill that role, would it make sense to have a more of an administrative assistant in that area so that the paramedic can not only function as the head of that unit, but also work, create more billable hours? If you've got a lot of, I'm not talking about a second in command, I'm talking about if you're saying there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of organization, a lot of management that's taking up the time, that's not really the best use of the paramedics' time at their rate. I would just say consider that possibility of, if I'm understanding the scenario in the department where you've got a lot of, well, in a similar situation we have in the highway, where we have an administrative assistant, right? And then the guys can get out more. Right. I don't know if this director is, how much time they're spending in the field versus at the desk.
Well, we'll have that discussion, Han. I don't want to strap the manager of it with any primary duties. I would rather it be, he knows or she knows when needed that you have to go, there's an emergency, there's something going on big. But I don't want to personally strap them with 12 hours a shift or 12 hours a week. You must be out in the field paramedic, because then he loses control, he or she loses control, I think, of what's going on. You have to be able
Just an idea, so just to think about.
I'm sure we'll have a lot of discussions on this but time's ticking, that's for sure. I feel the pressure of it anyway.
Yeah, and I think we need to make a decision.
Yeah,
while Gary's still
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
I would just say that I'd be in favor of this, and it just allows flexibility to reconfigure this and change salaries as needed to fit the new roles. No, and we can't really throw out a number right now, Cam. I mean, we could.
If I might add, Dave, I think we need to throw out the 75. Only
That
for
way they
this.
can advertise that way.
Yeah, for only this year, and I think we should be required, and I would come back to the council as we look at the possibility of restructuring and what that might take as a different subject than this one. Would that be fair?
Yes.
I move that we move the new head of the EMT out there to the $75,000 structure to match what the other workers are already getting.
Second.
It's been moved and second, we approve. Let me clean that up just a
Yeah,
little.
clean it up.
For executive director to be a paramedic at the county EMS. All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign. So, anything else, Gary, for us?
No. No, the only word that was in that, I was thinking, I intend for my vote as paramedic, I can't speak for the other two commissioners. Kind of the way it was worded there, if we hire somebody and they're not a paramedic, you shouldn't take them to the 75.
Right.
Okay.
Note that in the minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything for me? I appreciate it, by the way, all of you. Thank you.
Thanks
And
for
of course, Dave, I'll keep you posted as we go too. You can pass it right down to the council.
I will.
As you need.
I will.
I will, and I will, I mean, I just want to do it, but I will look that up and I'll try to get a text to you. It's in the low 400,000 range. I just don't want to quote it for the record and be off.
Okay. Morning, Sydney.
Good morning. Where do you sign this?
No, that was for the
Okay.
public hearing.
I was yelling into this yesterday on accident. Thank you for having me, Sydney Sheresny, Randolph County United Executive Director. Just wanted to come before you to give an update about the organization and where we're at, things we've been doing and accomplishing, and then where we're headed. I know several of you were in the commissioners meeting yesterday, so this might be a little bit of a repeat, but I'll just jump right in for the sake of time. In the last few months, one of the priorities my office has had is tackling some of our involvements with state RAN and federal RAN loans. So we have two federal RLF programs that we administer, one through the USDA and one through the EDA, and then we have one state funded one through OKRA. All of these funding programs are pre-COVID. The USDA one is just over a decade old. And so what we are doing now as an office is working to get these funds released back into our coffers, if you will, without any kind of federal or state reporting requirements. They're so dated at this point that a lot of these programs have the capabilities of releasing the funds back to the entities that were originally awarded. So just want to give a quick update about where we're at with some of those and then talk about an active grant we're working on. So with the EDA, we're still in the preliminary steps of that loan. We are in the process of filing to have that loan released. There's a lot of paperwork that goes along with it. Original loan amount, how many awards you've done thus far, things of that nature. I have not found out whether or not that loan is going to be able to be transferred to us allowing us to use it for another RLF program, or if we're going to be required to use it as a grant program and spend it down. The Okra program, we're the furthest along in. We have a conditionally approved eligibility document that Okra has approved, so that we may start the process of getting the RLF program funds released. We are required to turn that into a grant that we will need to spend down. So I will come back before the commissioners, hopefully by the end of the year, with a public meeting hearing saying that the application is open. So right now where we're at with Okra is putting together a timeline of how long we want the grant to be open, and then an application. And once they, I believe that's the last step, once they approve that, then we can release it to the public, and we'll have a certain time frame that is open, and we can release those awards. The USDA RLF program, we have submitted our application, our packet, if you will, to have those funds released. I am not sure if it's going to be the same as Okra, where we have to show them what our application looks like in our timeline, but I do know that we are allowed to transition those funds into our own RLF program, which is what I have recommended we do, and not spend that down as a grant, so that we will have a consistent form of income for these types of programs.
What's RLF?
I apologize, revolving loan fund.
Okay.
So those funds theoretically will, depending on what we do with interest rates and forgiveness, those funds will be paid back to us once we loan them out. And that Okra grant fund, once that is spent down, there will be no more money in that pot for that. So my goal for Randolph County United is to be able to act as a resource for our local businesses and potential maybe developers coming in wanting to build a park or housing. You know, we have a lot of options we could use that funding for. And my goal is sustainability, quite frankly, for the funds. And so being able to have something that we turn into a revolving program would be really beneficial, I think, to everybody involved. So moving on, we as in Randolph County United are taking the lead on applying for a $500,000 brownfield grant through the EPA. Where we're at right now with that, I have had members of I've had some of the commissioners, cities, mayors, and town representatives send me parcels that they believe are brownfield related projects. And what this grant will do, given that we are awarded, is give us funding for phase 1 and phase 2 testing. So we're not at a point in the application where we have to confirm if it's a brownfield. We can submit parcels that we believe may be. This includes residential and housing as well. And so I am working with BCA Consulting, who has actually just completed a $500,000 grant, brownfield grant with Union City specifically. And so we are using that consulting firm. This brownfield grant program that we are applying for is countywide. So the parcels that we're looking at are from all corners of the county. So I think that would be really beneficial for the county, especially as it relates to the Commissioner's Blight project. It kind of lines up those dominoes to fall, if you will. So if we can get that testing done, and then the commissioners can potentially award some blight destruction projects and, spur economic development in the county. I'm going to move on from there to a completely different bucket. So does anybody have any questions about those programs right now?
Sydney, I was just trying to think out of the box yesterday. Would it be possible, say, if the county in 2026 puts another 100,000 toward the housing, is there any kind of match that an Okra or whatever could do?
I think that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, and it would be through Okra most likely, and then the EPA. But I think, and I don't think this is a surprise to you guys, I think because of what's going on at the federal government as it relates to funding cuts, and then obviously the state having a $2.4 billion shortfall, I don't know what grant money is going to be there. I know that, and this is something I've spoken with leadership about, I know that Okra's rural economic development line item in the budget that was just passed this legislative session was zeroed out. So they have money. I've been told that they have money to last them the next 2 years until the next biennial budget is passed by the state, but there is no guarantee that that money will be replenished. So I think that's something that they're working on, but to be determined. But given that money is there and on the bright side, then yes, I do believe there will be some matching funds. And I believe that would actually help your applications case if you were able to provide that the county would match in some of these areas. So my next topic next bucket that we are involved in is Ready 2.0. So as you may have heard, the state reached, or the region reached, their 65% threshold with Ready 1 funding, which therefore allows Ready 2.0 funding to be released. I am a part of the regional steering committee that meets to score projects, develop policies about funding, and there have been a couple instances, Randolph County included, that have had projects that were once awarded that are no longer viable, and the region committee did not really have a policy on what happens if that funding for those projects is there, but the projects aren't able to move forward. And so about a couple weeks ago, we as a committee approved a new policy to make sure that those funds can stay in the county but find ways to be reallocated. Randolph County has about $1 million to reallocate for one project, various projects that is up to our discretion. They just have to meet the match requirements and the ready priorities, which are quality of life, housing, and childcare. So what that means. So at 10 o'clock today, I have a meeting with the Region 6 Steering Committee. And then at 11 o'clock, I have a meeting with the local steering committee. And what we will do on the local level right now is go through previous applications that were submitted back in 2024 for Ready 2.0. We'll re-vet those now that the Winchester project that is no longer viable is kind of out of the loop. And then we'll work with what we have, and we're required to take preference on those and priority on those since they did take the time to submit the application. But I do want to put on public record that we are accepting applications for additional projects that may be funded. So what that will look like is if a business or entity is interested in applying for Ready 2.0 funds, you have to fill out the application and complete the funding and match checklist. And then you can send that to me and anybody in my office, and then I will send that to Region 6. They have to vet it before it comes back before the local committee, and then we'll go through that process again on scoring. It's a pretty quick turnaround. We have to have all of those documents in by November 17th. So again, today we're reviewing what has currently been submitted, and we will probably, I believe next steps will probably be reaching out to each of those people that have submitted to see where they're at in their projects, if they've moved forward or if those projects are viable themselves. Moving on from that, any questions from the committee? Okay. So workforce initiatives. I am personally working with two pretty large employers in Randolph County. We have one that's going through a pretty significant merger, and I am working with the state offices and agencies to facilitate meetings and figure out if there's any state support that could be provided to assist in this merger. And those are kind of still in the infancy stages, and we're working that out with the new leadership of the organization. I'm also working with another large employer in Randolph County who is looking to potentially make a significant investment in their own operations, and we're facilitating some conversations with the local units on that as well to see if there's any assistance that may be needed or could be granted. Outside of that, other kinds of business retention and expansion opportunities that we're working on. Obviously, you know as a body that we are a lean staff of 3. And so I have really empowered our other 2 staff members to help me with the business retention and expansion efforts that we're going to fully roll out in 2026. And so that will take place starting in January and run through our chamber, but not only for chamber members. I do want to make that note that our business retention and expansion efforts are for all businesses in Randolph County. So that'll include business visits. I've done some of my own. I know, Counselor, you were with me on one of those to meet with businesses individually to talk about workforce initiatives, equipment needs, supply and demand issues, and figure out, where you're at, where you want to go, and is there a lane for Randolph County United and or the county or cities to assist with some of those initiatives. It's been great thus far. I'm really ready to hit the ground running in January on that, and the staff will be supporting me on the more micro level with the smaller businesses. I do truly believe, based on the feedback we've gotten from the staff so far and some of our newest members of our chamber, I believe that our RLF and grant program are going to be very successful once we're able to offer those funds. I think there's a lot of interest in businesses that have been here for a while that are still pretty small, who want to expand, ones that want to start, and just need more product. So I'm excited to start having those conversations once RCU can have that financial backing. In the meantime, since May, and I in 2026, I'd like to do a better job about our office, including myself, keeping track of this. I've probably fielded no less than 24 phone calls from individuals across the county who are interested in some kind of expansion, equipment purchase opportunities. And, while RCU cannot provide those funds right now, I am very fortunate to have a lot of contacts at the state level. So we've been able to act as a liaison of sorts to get them in front of the right people at the right time so that they can still move forward with their business initiatives. So we've been a resource. I'm looking forward for us to be a more tangible resource to the community. And that kind of leads me into my next point about what I would like to see in 2026 with Randolph County United in partnership with the county. So I did some digging, and it looks like the last time Randolph County, in conjunction with Randolph County United, had a strategic plan was back in 2015. I want to know that this is different than a comprehensive plan. A strategic plan focuses more on business growth, workforce alignment and housing, infrastructure and site readiness, and then community priorities. Whereas a comprehensive plan is a little bit more broad and focuses on zoning and what that looks like in the future. And so they're very similar and oftentimes complement each other. But for the sake of this conversation, I am talking about a strategic plan. I know that I brought this up to you in the last time I presented, and now that we're working with the 2026 RCU budget and we kind of understand what that looks like, I would like to propose that in 2026 that Randolph County United and the county partner on an official strategic plan. I think all the buckets that I'm talking about right now are beneficial. I think they're results oriented and goal driven, but when it comes to defining results and priorities, everyone has a different passion point, and that's what's great about having so much representation in the elected positions. I want to make sure that that's formalized, and I want to make sure that everybody is on the same page about where we are rowing and why, and that's what a strategic plan is for. And because both of your comprehensive plan and your strategic plan are outdated to the point where you would not be able to use them to apply for state funds, I think it's a timely initiative that we can take on. So that will not be the last time you hear me mention that. I will come with a more formal ask probably in the first several months of 2026, but that's where my head is at. And that brings me to the 2026 budget. I presented to the commissioners yesterday. We at RCU are operating under the assumption that we are at that 243 budget mark. I know we had talked about in the council meeting at one point where you may have approved that, but then the commissioners needed to amend the edit funds to update that. And then when I presented yesterday, I think there was a question on whether that actually needs to start with the council and what you guys actually approved. That's not an answer I really need something on today. I just wanted to give an FYI of the conversation I had in the commissioners meeting yesterday and then today, because we are operating with that 243 or 5 mark, and that is inclusive of removing tourism from our budget, because I believe it was in the area, in the range of 270 something, and then it was brought down. And then we were hoping that it would be reinstated at that 240 level for 2026.
And I think it was, if I remember right from the budget, Sydney.
That's what I was under the impression of. I just wanted to,
Just trying to see what.
I don't know the next steps. I don't know if it was the commissioners needed to amend the edit, and so that's something I figured we could talk about. But I just wanted to let you know where our head was at and where our line items are operating from. With that said, I don't have anything else for you right now. I could probably talk for at least an hour on some of the other smaller items, but those are the high-level projects we're working on. I'm really proud of what we've been able to accomplish since May, and I look forward to the work in 2026.
Any questions for Sydney?
No questions, but thank you. Thank you for the report, and it sounds like things are moving.
Yes, absolutely. We're excited. So
I'd love to hear it.
perfect.
I know that project, the one project they're talking about, the major project, so it's, I think it's supposed to come down in November. So
And
we can't talk too much about it.
No, and I kept it pretty vague, but
Yeah.
I do have the governor involved.
Okay.
And so, and he's, I've got word from his office that he's interested, so, in the conversation.
Great.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for coming in, Sydney.
Thanks.
Okay. Looks like the sheriff's up next. Good morning. Morning. Morning.
I guess one of the first things I'd like to ask is if everyone received the commissary report that I sent out October 1st. With the change in the law, that's now a quarterly report, so you'll get those more frequently. I just wanted to make sure that everyone had received that.
Yes.
Yep, received it.
Perfect. The other thing I believe we have this morning is the contract for the sheriff's salary that was signed yesterday by the commissioners.
Yes, I have it here in front of me. Okay, and it's only one signature by the president of council. The contract is for $117,687. So just need a motion to approve that. That was in the budget.
And that was the amount you guys set during the budget hearings.
Based off the state guidelines.
Correct.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved second. We approve the compensation agreement between the county and Sheriff Art Moistner. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
The other request this morning is for the purchase of challenge points using the commissary fund. I believe I sent everyone an email explaining what those were, what I would like to use those for. According to the State Board of Accounts, that would be an allowable expense provided the council agrees.
What's the council's wishes on that? I think
Well, I'm not clear on what the challenge coin is supposed to accomplish.
We would use it for community engagement. For somebody that goes above and beyond, they would be given a challenge coin by the sheriff's office. It would be just a small token to show appreciation for support of the sheriff's office and recognition. So basically, it's a community engagement tool is what we would use it for.
These could probably be presented at a special meeting or something like mayor or
Correct.
city council or each county.
Yes. Yes, I know a lot of sheriff's offices have started using those. I believe there's other county governments that use those as an engagement tool. And when presented to the community, I know they use it in the military a lot. It's considered an honor to receive one. And it just shows a sense of pride, belonging, loyalty.
I'm not sure that money couldn't be used for better a better, use than that, but that's just my opinion.
Sure, and there's limited things that it can be used for.
Anything else? Anybody else got it? I believe in positive initiatives like, rewarding somebody with something. Could a certificate do just as well?
I guess my opinion is I've been in law enforcement 40 years, and when I receive a certificate of achievement, yeah, there's a recognition. To me, that's no different than a handshake and a thank you. Those are printed off on a printer. If you want to frame it, hang it, you can frame it, hang it. I've received several challenge coins over the years. I sent you guys a picture of what I have up there. To me, it's a thing of pride to receive those and a nice display to have. It's something that if a business does something nice, it could be given to the business, they can display it in their business locally. It's just a small, and it's not an expensive token, but it's a small token of gratitude that is, tangible, I guess, to where you can display it.
I would have
You can do the same.
to agree with you.
You can do the same thing with certificate, but I type it up and print it. So no, to me, you handing me a certificate for something doesn't have the same meaning and challenge coin would have. No.
Do you think the next administration would go ahead and carry this forward?
It would be nice if they did. I can tell you that some of the initial setup in Silvertown's worked with me on this because we're local. And I have a big thank you for them. One of the things that's more expensive with that is setting up the initial die and getting that set up. And I can tell you the back side of that coin is set up for future generations. It would be the front that would change if it's a different office holder and it's coming from them. So the sheriff's name would change on that. So that would be a different die. But the back would be the same. And the way this one was designed is it signifies the county. The back of the coin is actually the soldier sailor monument of their courthouse. Because I think that's the most symbolic thing we have in our county, for county government.
I make a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and second. We approve the $1,500 request out of commissary fund to purchase challenge coins. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Me. Opposed?
So that's 4-3. So how I passed, 4-3. There you go, passed.
So it is passed. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Art.
Do you guys have any questions for me?
Drones coming? Are your drones coming?
The drones are here.
They're here? Okay.
Yeah, we've used them a few times now. They are working wonderfully. There's a couple.
I'll need you to sign this one.
Perfect, thank you. There are a couple, we're waiting on a couple batteries that are caught up in the supply chain, but other than that, we have them. We're looking for another source to get a couple more batteries so that we can use those to their full potential. Anybody else have anything for me? Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, minutes of August 19th and 20th and September 30th. These are the minutes.
Motion to pass all 3 sets of minutes.
Okay,
Second.
it's been moved and second. We pass the minutes of August 19th, 20th, 2025, and September 3rd. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It must have been the budget hearing. That's a lot of minutes.
It's a little deceiving in minutes. It's not, it's a transcript. Oh, I forgot to
Don't
sign.
sign, don't say it.
Talking instead.
Don't forget to put your X there.
Means you read them all.
There. Rest of them are on the back page.
Right. And just need your signature.
Okay, next thing we have is the community crossing letter of commitment. Is there anything you want to say on that, Jay? Nate?
I just didn't know if you guys had any questions on that.
Yeah, I don't think so. Looks like the request is for $1 million and local match would be $345,821.
Sure.
So, looks pretty much standard, so.
I only signed 2 sets. Is that what there was?
That's, yeah, that was, looks like one big packet was for both 19th and 20th.
The budget
Oh,
meeting is a
it's
big
for 2
package.
days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2 days
okay,
budget
gotcha.
meeting.
Okay.
Forgot it was 2 days, so yeah, all together.
I don't have
That's
any
actually
questions.
bad.
Anybody have any questions
We didn't forget him.
for the community crossing grant?
This is what Joe talked yesterday about taking part of the bridge money or something.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and second. We approve the community crossing letter of commitment for $1 million. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I'm the only one to sign this, so. Okay. Anything else for us?
Nope.
All right.
Okay.
You'll check into that speed limit sign out.
We already did.
Yeah, he said all of his signs are up, so either it be the city's or somebody else's sign.
Yeah.
It was
It
on
might have
the,
been that solar panel, was it the solar panel speed limit sign that flashes at you?
no, it was just a 35-mile-an-hour sign that was about, not quite across from the wastewater treatment. It's on the west side of the road.
Okay.
We'll go by there and
Yeah,
check
we'll
it
check
out
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Thanks,
All
Gabe.
right, thanks.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
She didn't spill the coffee on it. Okay. Next thing we have is the Washington Township Library appointment is Kathy Welch. Entertain a motion to sign this request?
Kathy Welch, she's been, they're wanting to be appointed.
Yes.
Okay.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved second. We approve the appointment of Kathy Welch to Washington Township Public Library. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I think I signed right here.
I was gonna, he skipped out. Tom was coming in. Couldn't point out when I come in. He thought he was gonna be meeting with the commissioners. I called him when they got in here and said, "You're on the agenda." And he said, "Well, I don't have the pictures."
Okay, next one I have is the improvement of the 2026 salary ordinance.
2026.
It's what we passed through the budget hearing.
Right.
So moved.
I move that the council pass ordinance 2025-08 after the first reading.
It's been moved second, the county passes ordinance 2025-08, 2026 salary ordinance at first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I move that the rules be suspended and have the second and third reading by title only and adopted the same day.
Second.
It's been moved second that we pass ordinance 2025-08, the 2026 salary ordinance, after the second and third reading and adopted the same day. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I move that the council adopt ordinance 2025-08.
Second.
It's been moved second, the council approve ordinance 2025-08, the 2026 salary ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Now, we'll probably have an adjustment on this due to the paramedic today but we'll let Laura work through that when she gets back. I'd say to you.
This is solid waste budget.
Okay. Next thing I have is the Randolph County Solid Waste Budget Ordinance 2025-12. Their budget's $421,370.
Is this the one that was missed during the budget hearings?
Yeah, we, she came, next meeting or something, we approved it then. So Bev, would you?
I move that council passed ordinance 2025-12
Second.
after the first reading. Thank you.
It's been moved and second. We have passed ordinance 2025-12, the Randolph County Solid Waste Budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I move that the rules be suspended and have the second and third reading by title only and adopted the same day.
It's been moved and second that we approve 2025-12 with the second and third reading by title only and adopted the same day. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I move that council adopt ordinance 2025-12.
Second.
It's been moved and second that county council approve Randolph County Solid Waste Budget Ordinance 2025-12. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
It's a drug-free grant.
Okay. Next, we have the Randolph County request from the probation department for a drug-free grant for Randolph County of $3,000.
It's just yours.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. We approve the drug-free grant from the probation department of $3,000. All in favor? Aye. It's for my signature only, so. Okay, the next item is the Children's Advocate Grant application of amount of match is $21,000. That's what I was trying to figure out. See, the amount requested is $12,352 for the matching grant. So entertain a motion.
Is that from Jay Tony?
It is.
It is from what?
Jay Tony.
It's from the circuit court.
Okay.
Could be pass-through grants.
Yeah, it's a pass-through. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the Children's Advocate Grant application. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. We're going into additional appropriations. Wind farm, Bridge 85, 325, $325,000. Bridge 212, $175,000. And Bridge 114, $100,000. Entertain a motion.
Approve, so moved.
Second.
It's been moved. Second, we approve the additional appropriation for wind farm, out of wind farm 4915 for Bridge 85 of $325,000. Bridge 212, $175,000. And Bridge 114, $100,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's what it looks like to me. Okay, the next item we have is drug-free Randolph County for prevention education of $1,211.65. Entertain a motion.
So moved. Yeah, second.
It's been moved second. We approve the drug-free Randolph County prevention education program for $1,211.65. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We lost everybody.
Yeah, we outlasted them again.
Yeah. We're not done yet.
You forget your name. Read them all the people watching us.
Yeah, that number.
How many people are online?
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay, the next one we have is CUMCAP Development, building maintenance of $15,000. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. We approve CUMCAP Development for the building maintenance of $15,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No, this is a transfer.
Oh, that's
The
right.
rest are transfers after that.
And the last additional appropriation is for public safety and jail for institutional and medical supplies of $3,000. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. We approve the public safety jail institutional medical supplies of $3,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. For the transfer. A bunch of other transfers.
Yeah, we do. I don't think it's
Yeah, let's go in order here. We'll go into the transfers. 911 center transfer from telephone to equipment of $12,000. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved second. We approve the transfer of 911 center from telephone to equipment. $12,000. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next transfer we have is Commissioners Kim Cap to the courthouse building maintenance of $10,000.
Moved. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved second. We approve the transfer of $10,000 from the Commissioners Kim Cap to courthouse building maintenance. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next one, we have a transfer from the probation department of $400 from training and schooling to office supplies.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved second. We approve out of the probation department $400 transfer from training and schooling to office supplies. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, the next item, a transfer of $2,000 out of the circuit court from per diem jurors to lodging and meals.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. We approve $2,000 out of the circuit court for per diem, from per diem jurors to lodging and meals. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
We'll get a lot of these in November and December too, because budgets wind down and they move from one line to the other.
Yep. Using up the money.
We had one that come in at the late arrival of transfer. It's from the Children Advocates of Randolph County. It's $500 from office supplies to part-time employees and $300 from office supplies to travel and mileage.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. We approve the Children's Advocates of Randolph County transfer of $500 and $300. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Last time, do we have any citizens' comments out there? We have 3. Okay. Next thing we'll do is go around the council body here and see if you have anything. We'll start with Scott.
I noticed you, MoDOT was on the agenda and you skipped over them. I expect to see them here next month.
Okay.
Actually, one of the board members was leaving when I came in.
Well, he said he wanted to,
He thought he was meeting with the commissioners.
that's what he told me.
And what that is about is that's going to be your first blight project. They've
Okay.
spent the last year or two getting ownership of a property there in MoDOT. The commissioners had already approved giving them funding to demo that.
Okay.
They didn't have ownership, and I do know they finally got ownership after the last year or two.
So they do have the ownership.
But I think David Sexton sent Tom up here to meet. Tom thought he was coming to meet with the commissioners. And I said, well, they met yesterday.
That's what I told him.
I called him when I got up here and I said, you're on the agenda for today. He said, yeah, but I don't have the pictures. I had to bring pictures.
Yeah, okay, well,
So I assume he'll be back next month, and that's what it's gonna be about. It's probably gonna be your first request for blight funds.
okay.
Was he here a couple months ago, Scott, or it's just his?
Not that I know of.
Not, I have not seen him, no.
Good.
Now, when is the edit meeting?
The 29th at 6 p.m.
29th of October is when the monies will be officially approved through the edit fund, so.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I assume that's gonna come out of that fund, but the commissioners had already committed the funds, I think,
it's
to
a-
them.
Oh, a
So-
separate one then.
Well, I don't know. Yes, that was approved a year ago, but
Okay,
they didn't have ownership.
okay.
So I don't know if the commissioners will slide this over and tell them to take it out of the edit fund.
That'll be up to the commissioners on.
Yeah, but I think we can expect to see them here next month.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't,
As long as he makes it to the commissioners meeting, that's where he's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Which is in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now.
that's correct. That's
Yeah,
correct.
okay.
Okay. Anything else, Scott?
I don't believe so.
Okay, thanks. Todd?
I think you're gonna talk about this, but, as I think, I looked at the plan that we got from Baker Tilly and, thinking about the projects that have been done over the last several years, the fairly big renovations, and not seeing a lot on the horizon, I'm not really sure why we want to have large fund balances and not pay off principal on a bond for 10 years. Why do we want to borrow when we have the funds to pay that at an interest rate that is not really that great advantage to us? So if you can explain it.
I was troubled a little bit that we were gonna wait 10 years to start paying on the principal. The bond situation's a little new to me, but I was a little confused why we were gonna pay interest for 10 years before we started paying on the principal.
I should have asked Tim that, I guess. The timing of it, I just don't understand. Is there a timing advantage? Is there something I'm not seeing as to why we would not? It looks like the balance in that special lit fund is we have about 2.7 million available, I think.
They show about 3.7.
3.7. I thought maybe some of it was committed or something. I don't know, but it seems like we have that money that can only be used for a certain purpose. For certain purposes, maybe we should not incur unnecessary interest expense.
I think we explained it, that the interest rate, something about it had to do with the interest rate, not for the first 10 years.
The people
Well-
buying the bonds
Bonds, you actually
want,
purchased the bond.
It sounded like that was what you had to do to get the bonds, but it was a little confusing why, and especially if we have the cash, why are we gonna pay interest on that money?
Well, let me share something else. We'll have a couple of projects here I want to share with you. It's going to take care of half of that monies. But also, we have a 2034 bond come due. At any time, the way I understand it, it's within the 10-year frame of the bond. And we can actually call it at any time. Then you can use that balance of the fund, which on that hand will save you money. More money actually, because higher interest rate. So it's sort of a
I figured
catch.
there was some, clever thought that went into it. I just wasn't really.
It's sort of it's a numbers game is what it is. And plus we're earning interest off that money. So it's not like we're not.
Yeah.
We're earning about 4%, which is about a wash with the interest
rate.
borrowing. So it's a game, and and I'll bring that up here in a minute about some of the different things.
That's all I.
Anything else, Tom? Thanks. Mike?
Nope.
Okay. Didn't want to share anything about the conference, or?
Nah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good conference.
good conference.
Yes, yeah, there were 2 specific meetings that were well worth the attending, so.
Okay.
Yeah, plus all of the conversation with other people who do just what we do.
Yep, that's where you learn a lot.
And, yeah, and the good, the bad, and the ugly with it all. I feel so good about how things are handled in Randolph County when I talk to other people in other counties and what's going on.
We've developed good teams over the years that have really
Helps.
done well for Randolph County, I feel like. Right?
I just wanted to comment on AIC and what a good thing it was for the day I was there. I hated that I couldn't make it for 2 days, but was glad to be there for the one and did learn quite a bit.
Well, good. They're very.
Got more to learn. Wished I could have been there for the second day, but just wasn't gonna work.
Well, next year it's a little closer. It's in
Yeah,
Fort
the next
Wayne.
Fort Wayne next year I can make both days.
Okay. Just a brief comment on AIC conference. It was a great conference. The county councils of Indiana, way it's structured right now with the legislation, is going to have their work cut out going forward.
Yes.
They're wanting to put everything back to the county councils. That includes the townships, all cities and towns less than 3,500, all libraries, and I forget what the other one was, but it's going to be
It's gonna make council's job a lot more involved, a lot.
edit funds will be coming back to county council control.
Township fire departments? Is that part of it?
It's their budgets, yes.
Through the trustee.
And there's some other movements on that where they may combine townships that one has a fire department and one does not. And there's going to be a lot of discussion about territories and district going forward because the cost of doing business with all those townships.
Are they gonna leave the trustees in place?
Can't answer that. I don't know. It's all up for grabs right now, is the way I understand it.
There's a movement like this about 10 years ago too.
There was on township trustees. Okay, go on to other. Here's some of the projects I've got listed that we're going to be facing here in the very near future. We're going to have to do a little courthouse restructuring of office spaces. The county commissioners want to bring the probation and community corrections to this building. I don't know what that exactly is yet. There's been talk about clerk's office in the room right below us. So somehow they want to structure those 3 departments in those 2 rooms. And it can be done. I mean, there's plenty of square footage down there. So how it's going to be done, that's entirely up to them. But that's probably going to be estimated around $200,000 project. The morgue, we talked about that in a bond or not in a bond. Special lit, the way I understand it, can take care of that, being an EMS type program. I would not include it in the bond if it was me. I would include it. That would take lesser monies to bond, which also will help the total dollars there. Airport terminal, that can be used out of special lit. I've talked to a couple of the commissioners. They don't want to go in between $600,000 and $1 million max on that terminal. Where that's going, I don't know yet, but that's something that we need to consider going forward. The road, is that 800 West? Is that the road number over there?
Yes.
That will more likely come out of the wind and solar farm monies. That's what it's dedicated for. Last I knew, it was around $2 million. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, that's the last I had heard.
Okay, that's what I still. And then the jail renovation bond that we talked about today. And I had another note here, rainy day, $250,000 by year end going into, coming out of the general fund, and $250,000 out of the wind solar monies. So we can have another $500,000, which will, right now we're at about 2.1 million. Our goal was 3.1 million, so.
In rainy day.
In rainy day only.
Courthouse security, is there any capital expense related to that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that, Todd, if I can. Sorry.
Go right ahead.
The next meeting is October 15th at noon. The initial figures are in for the, to restructure the north entrance here and have what they call sally ports on the other 2 where the door would stay behind you and only employees. The initial figures look around $200,000 for just the structural part and a few changes upstairs. And then you have to consider, we're gonna have 1.5 or 2 employees to man the system, and we haven't figured that part out yet.
So one consideration there is that we talked today that special lit fund doesn't have to just be for capital projects. It's possible we could fund courthouse security out of that. I think it would come under those, police and emergency type services.
Yeah, that's something Meeks will have to tell us.
Judge Dowler and Meeks is kind of heading the whole program, and they're trying to get the information in by the end of October for a grant. So that's what.
As I recall, it's gonna be like about another 200,000 just annual expense.
Could be.
In labor and so on.
Yeah.
Which you'd hate to have all fall into the general fund budget that's already gonna come under pressure here in 26.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you include that 200,000, we're looking almost $2 million out of special lit, which that would draw that down enough to move us forward on all these other projects. So
including the morgue and in the 2 millions of your.
Yeah.
Do we need to have additional discussion on the morgue today, Dave?
Well, we need to let Jason Similar
and Gary.
from Baker Tilly and Gary know that what our directions are, or what we're thinking on that bond, because what Jason needs is that he'll release the bond just showing for
the jail.
Jail only.
Which would save us.
Is it okay for the council to make a motion, or?
I would definitely want a motion on this one since it involves that kind of money.
I'll make a motion for the morgue construction to come from the special lit fund.
Second.
More details?
Okay, it's been moved second. We approve the morgue construction project to be funded out of special lit instead of the bond. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Two other things. Well, we talked, well, we probably ought to have a motion on the EMS director salary. Did we do that? Motion?
We did.
We did, I'm sorry. Last time I have is,
Because you cleaned it up for me.
that's right, yeah. Somebody has to.
You didn't offend me one bit.
Okay. 2026, I am recommending that we have somebody else in president here and a president pro tem. Between you six, we'll need to have two people to take those positions over. I'll still be here next year, but I want somebody to get trained for the following years. So I'll let you six work it out, and I'm gonna stay out of it. But,
Dave, if you would back up a little bit, but you were telling about the money that you were wanting to go to somewhere, and then we
Rainy
got
day.
started on courthouse security. I didn't catch that.
rainy day,
Rainy day.
250,000 from the general fund, and 250,000 from the wind solar monies.
Okay.
We have already made that decision, correct? Or do we still need to do that for this year?
We still need to do it for this year. I think we've talked about it in general.
I thought we'd already done it. Getting my years confused.
And the commissioners have never done anything yet as far as percentage out the numbers on the amount of money going strictly to road ditches and all that,
No.
and then 25% for whatever.
Right.
They've never done that yet.
Nothing's been done. I've requested that again, which I have probably, I think, every year for the last 5 years.
One thing I think I heard at yesterday's meeting with Joe, like he's already told us what he wants for bridges for 2025, and then the commissioners has to change something about, he's gonna tell us the total for 2026. And so the commissioners will know yearly what, if I understood that right yesterday, about yearly what we'll need for.
And I think all of them are pretty supportive of using the original intent of those dollars back to roads, bridges, and drainage, because, you know, we've got a lot of assets out there that,
Well,
yeah,
but I just feel like we need to get it done before it slips through everybody's fingers, and, I mean, get the setup
yeah.
approved by the commissioners, if we can.
On the wind farm money out, the 440 some thousand we loaned to the airport is scheduled to start coming back over 3 years next year. Is that right? Or is it?
Do you know?
I'm not sure.
It was a loan, that wasn't it?
It was a loan.
Because of the timing of
Yeah.
some federal money.
Yeah, I think that's correct, Todd.
And the $600,000 shortfall that's shown in Cume Bridge now, is that real, or is that something where we're waiting on funds to come from a matching source, do you know?
I can't answer that offhand. I saw that too,
I think we're waiting, are we, Nikki, or do you know?
I'm not sure.
I'm
Do you
not
know?
sure either, but just the impression.
We'll find out.
Yeah, please.
I can check on it though.
we'll find out for the next meeting. Yeah, those, I would encourage everybody to, you know, Nikki does a great job on the monthly financials. Always look at those, and if you need some help identifying the main ones, we can sit down with that. And she also does the wind farm, solar farm. It always keeps us abreast of where we're at on that, even with the ones that's already dedicated but not spent.
And I apologize for getting my calendar messed up last month and missing the meeting. I don't know if ever have that happen again. But one of the things that you guys went over was the Baker Tilly report. And in their executive summary, they had like 6 recommendations or, ways to. So my question is that I wondered if you guys had answered that. When they did their projections out 2027, 2028 and beyond, there was a significant shortage as far as general fund being able to meet. Did that shortage include the option of, the 1.2% lit request that they had included in their executive summary, or was it not built into those numbers? Because that's the huge difference maker, I think.
The way I understand it, Jason, based on current legislation that was passed to going forward, he did the 1.2. And that's why you see the drastic reduction. We lose from 2025.
About $600,000 a year that we needed to find.
Well, that was 600 the first year, and then it was $2 million the following year, and $3 million the next year. So, I mean, we've got some serious budget adjusting to do.
29 is when it really kicks down.
Well, I think 29 was 3 million, but if I'm not mistaken, 28 was 2 million.
Even 26 showed it has
600,000.
I believe.
Yeah.
It was 600 on
So,
28.
I mean, I've been concerned ever since that report, because we passed this year's budget with pretty much giving everybody what they requested. That's not going to be able to continue.
No, after this year, it's going to.
So, I mean, I kind of see that the sheriff's department and the highway department are the 2 big budgets. And there's probably going to have to be some trimmed off those.
It's going to get critical. There's no doubt about it.
Is lit expected to, part of it go away, or will it?
The way I understand it's going to 1.2%.
Going down to 1.2% max.
Right.
That you can have, and we've got a greater rate of that.
Well, no, that would be the actual income tax. The lit tax, you can only do a 1.2%.
He was 2.9.
2.9 total.
So we'll about 1.2 for the county side.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're at 3.0 right now.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because that's what's not.
Another hit for us.
That's what's not going to continue, correct. That's where, all right.
To me, not to belabor the discussion, but not only, those areas you mentioned, Scott, but economic development, I think is going to be an area that we have to look at as well.
The way I understand it, that'll come under the jurisdiction of the county council.
Yep. That's what I saw too. So.
Yeah.
I don't remember, the gentleman was here yesterday, said that they're doing, that he expects quite a bit of tweaking at the state level. And we hope it's tweaking to the positive.
Yeah, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself.
Yeah, I think there also will be some adjustments. At least I hope there'll be some adjustments.
We hope.
You guys will have a rethinking going forward after 2026.
Yep.
Yeah, the way things currently stand, it'll be severe. It will be severe.
Any other questions or things to come before the county council? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved second. We adjourn the county council 10/6/2025. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good job.